So I've just come into the garden on a wet mid-June evening, and I thought, yeah, it's looking really quite colourful in places, and I want to build on that. So let's have a little look round. I'll show you some of the plants that I'm using. I may have mentioned them before, but hopefully I can show you why I've used them and how they may tie in. And yeah, let's get on with it. So to pre-warn you, this is going to be pretty much a random video covering some pretty all over the shop sort of subjects, but it will make more sense as I go along. Right, so as I walk out my door, on the right here I have this Cordyline Pink Passion, absolutely love it. Then round it we have various begonias and these black-leafed sweet potato vines, which are going to sort of just hang all the way down. I'll put the name on the screen if I can find it, what they're called. And we have this lovely lime green coleus that thankfully the slugs haven't seemed to have found yet. Right, and then tying in from that as I walk out, I've also got a couple of cordylines on the other side. Realistically, I think I'm only going to have one of them cordylines on. It looks too much as I walk back. I've just got to find a space for the other one. If you can see what I mean, got the one in the bottom right, then I wanted one on the left, so as I look out, that tied in. Don't need both of them. One of them will probably go, sort of one of these ones here will probably go to the far back, so it's still in my line of sight to get that colour. Now to tie them colours in, I've just put some of these pink impatiens in, and these are just quite random pots. Some plants have got to go in and some are staying in pots, but these pink New Guinea impatiens, and then we've got this Colocasia illustris, then to sort of tie in with the cordylines on the left, and there's some aeoniums in that pot. We've got this begonia Benita Chiba, and then, so going across there we've just got this red flowering geranium, this dark leafed aeonium, and there's a lovely purple flowering Ostromeria that did look much better till the slugs munched it. And also I sort of quite like the way that the colour of the Washington Robusta trunk sort of ties in with the colours around it. I think it makes it a little bit more structural, and as the colour comes back into the Euphorbia Minors Merlot, the new growth is, after it's flowered, it's coming out really purple. I'm hoping that's going to add another dimension of colour to this area. But what I do need to do is add more colour to the rest of the garden, because it seems to be all at this end, and that's because I've lost a lot of it due to the Cannas and that not doing well. I spoke in my last video about slugs and snails attacking, but I'll go on to them plants on the lawn in a minute. So obviously spoke about that recently, Cannas being ate to pieces. I've had to remove some black leaf dahlias, which has lost a lot of colour in my borders, but I have added things like these sedums and the heucheras to help get me that bit of colour. I find it harder to get lots of colour in my garden because I use so many evergreens, so to try and get that all year round look, it does actually make it quite hard to get the colour in. So I really do rely on the Cannas and stuff like that, and yeah, because they've not performed so well. Right, no, let's not go on to the, yeah, let's talk about them. Right, just went to go and get some grit from our local B&Q. If you're in America, it's just like a DIY hardware store, and they sell plants and all the sort of hardware stuff. Went to get some grit, and they had some plants half price and some that I thought I'd just add for a bit of colour. So we had these 3 geraniums, actually pelargoniums. They're 3 for 10 quid. I thought I'd buy them because just over there next to that Pittosporum Tom Thumb, this area here There was some euphorbia that really just didn't do very well there, so I pulled them out, and I'm just gonna whack them in there to add that little bit of colour, because it bores me, to be fair, and it's quite dry there, and these are quite drought tolerant plants. So what else we got? This was half price, so it's just a begonia with orange flowers. That's going to go somewhere just to add a bit of colour. Another begonia with sort of pinky flowers. That's just going to go in a pot somewhere around just to add a bit more colour. I think I only bought them because they were half price, and I just thought they'll tie in somewhere. And then we have these, which are usually house plants. Can I zoom in? So Oxalis triangularis, 3 for £10. I thought for that purple hit for summer, put them in a pot. They're really going to go well, and sort of, you know, anything sort of purpley next to them is going to look really good, or black leaf, something like that. So I thought I'd put them in just to add that extra bit of really tropical purple colour. And actually, even though they're sort of, I don't know, I've always considered them tender, but let's just go over here a minute. Told you this was going to be quite random. Now the slugs have been out here, but if you look here, one did come back for me. You can hardly see it, to be fair, and it did look much better than that a few days ago, but the slugs have ate that like everything else. Some nice lime green Carex Everillo there for the colour, really brighten up them spaces. And this black-eyed Susan's doing really well. So I only put this net in up to here for it to climb, but I didn't realise it was going to get to sort of 6-7 foot, so I'm going to have to add something to try and tie that in to the top. I didn't realise it was going to get that big, but love that orange flower. I'm really happy with that. When I went to Simon and Harriet's garden, which is on my channel, beautiful tropical garden, last year, he had Spanish flag up his posts, and which you grow from seed, and I thought that was absolutely lovely. I didn't really get round to sowing any seeds, so I went for this option, and yeah, really don't regret it. Gives me a lovely bit of tropical colour, and I think once the burgundy canna comes up, it's going to look a lot nicer. We've got some burgundy eucomis there as well to try and tie it all in. Right, let's go back to these cannas. So these are 3 different types of Canna Canova, and I wouldn't normally buy them because I don't like generally plain green cannas, because once they're flowered you don't really get anything else. So we've got plain green leaves with a yellow flower, one with a red flower, and it's not zooming in very well, is it? Focusing, I should say. One with an orange flower. Now these should have been £6 each. They were half priced to £3, so realistically free for less than £10. And the reason I got them is for a little experiment, and for that I'm just going to go around here. See, I told you this was going to be a random video. Right, so here is a load of random cannas, right, and these are all seed cannas, so species cannas that we can grow from seed. Whereas if you grow a lot of the colourful cannas like Canna Cleopatra, stuff like that, these hybrids will produce seed pods but will not produce seed, so you can only propagate them from division. Whereas these species cannas, as you can see here, bear in mind it's only July, already this one's pod splitting and you can see the black seeds inside. Now, a few years ago I used to have these lots of cannas in a polytunnel hoop house if you're in America, and I used to mess about trying to hybridize them, to see if I could create something new. Some of them turned out all right, others just, most of them turn out quite average, to be fair. But one of the cannas that I used to grow from seed is this one, and I don't know the name of it, to be honest. And the colouring hasn't really come out yet because it's been in quite a shady spot. But if I give this more sun, the leaves will come out really quite purple. And it also produces these yellowy type flowers. And I did have one that did have really mango flowers that I grew from seeds, and I'm not sure what happened to that, to be fair. And I was a bit gutted because it was one of the nicest cannas I've ever grown. Now, point I'm trying to get to, not very quickly by the way, is like some of the hybridizing I tried was from this plant and trying different flowering colors, different height of cannas, just to try and see basically what come out. So for instance, this is a little dwarf canna which is really not focusing, but most people would have brought this under Canna patterns or Canna Brasiliensis, and it's quite a dwarf canna with these, come on, bet you're not going to focus, are you? No. With these little dainty flowers. Well, I've messed about with them and I've created taller ones like this, which got these more glaucous green leaves, quite a lot taller. But the flowers aren't anything too special. They've still got that sort of similar colour. This one's a bit orange. The other one's not quite as tall. And that one's sort of more reddy orange. But what I thought was, while I'm messing about with all this stuff, is my new ones over here, I can try, bear in mind they were only basically £9 for the 3 of them. I can try using the pollen from the yellow one, the pollen from the red one and the orange one on this purple plant, and then grow some from seed and see what I can come up with, because I think this would be a really nice plant with this purple if I could somehow get the flowers red. It does look nice with these when the yellow flowers come out, but I'd really like to see if I could come up with another one. Like I say, in the past I have gained some, I have grown some different ones, but nothing's too spectacular. I think you'd have to do a lot of this sort of hybridizing to really, or be lucky to come up with something nice. But I really do like this canna when the colour comes into it. So just to keep it interesting, I thought I'd buy some cheap cannas, pollinate them, and basically, right, I told you this is getting more and more random, this video, all the time. If you see, I bet I can't even see one now, it's just not going to focus, is it? But these bits here underneath, you'll tend to see, let me see, I've got one with some on, you'll see the pollen on it. Okay, if I can zoom in, there we go. Can you see that? There's the pollen under there. So you can get a little brush, collect that. Oh my God, this is some bad camera work. I do apologise. Right, there's the pollen. You can collect that on a brush or something, and then in there you'll see a little tube, because I imagine these are somewhere in there, and you can poke the pollen down there, or you can even snap that piece off with the pollen on and poke it down a different flower. Not my most educational video, really didn't think about this, did I? But generally, getting to the point, I bought them so I can mess about and see if I could come up with something a little bit different and try and make this purple canna even nicer than it is. Right, let's get, what was I talking about? Colour. Right, what other things have we got for colour? Colour, Alstroemeria indicema, most people grow that, we all know about that. Randomly I've just put that in a pot because I don't know why, but that's a black Sambuscus, and that's a Sambuscus black tower, so that grows more upright than the other black Sambuscus. going round here. Totally random video. Indian bean tree. The Aora, look at so that's Catalpa bigonoides Aora. Obviously that can grow into a really big tree, but I've just got that in a pot because I love the way the colour just sort of contrasts with the cordyline red star next to it. And it does give me that hit of lime colour to balance in with the others. I think I spoke about, oh, you can't even see it. This is the Actia, which has got black foliage. Random. Okay, so lost my trail of thought. Right, thought I'd just show some of the colour in the garden. I thought it was looking really good compared to my last video, where pretty disheartened by all the damage from the slugs and everything like that. But some of these bits are looking really quite nice, so thought I'd just do a random video, share it with you all, and any questions, as usual, leave it in the comments and I will try to get back to you. Thank you very much.